Hello, I am Devashish. Welcome to my channel D-BIOLIFE. I hope you are all doing well and staying healthy. So let's start for today's topic. So today the name of topic that is very important. So mode of protein hormone action through extracellular receptors, RECEPTORS. Okay, so this topic is very useful for your board exam and as well as your NEET exam. So this is very important topic. So in my previous video I have already explained that the first step of the topic, that is mode of protein hormone action through extracellular receptor. Basically, to execute or to carry out the action of the protein hormone, there are 3 steps are present. So I have already explained the first step, where how the hormone and receptor will come close to each other and interact to each other. So this process I have already explained. So now today I am discussing about the second step and the third step. So what are those 2 steps? So if we consider those steps, then we have seen the second step, that is very important. So second step, formation of secondary messengers, MESSENGERS, secondary messengers, or the mediators, MEDIATORS, mediators. And the third step, so this is also very important, that is regulation of cellular metabolism. Okay, so these 2 steps very important. So today I am discussing these 2 steps. So look at the second step. Okay, so about second step. Okay, about second step. So if we consider the first step, so we have seen that how a hormone will come and bind to a receptor, okay, and form a hormone receptor complex. Okay, so if we consider the first step, then we have known that each hormone when come and contact with the contact and bind with receptor and to form hormone receptor complex, then that particular hormone do not enter into the target cell. Okay, instead they form or they generate a response. So when a hormone will come and bind to a receptor, then within the target cell that particular type of hormone do not enter. Instead, by the influence of the formation of hormone receptor complex within the target cell, a response will be generated. Okay, so if we consider, or if I am trying to see the diagram, so this is a hormone. So I have already mentioned that this is a example. If we consider the example, so this is a follicle stimulating hormone. So if this hormone come and bind to this receptor, so this is the structure of receptor, where this yellow color hormone basically bind and form a hormone receptor complex, and this is a plasma membrane, ovarian plasma membrane or cell membrane, ovarian cell membrane. Okay, so when this kind of condition will be developed, then that particular FSH do not enter into the target cell. Instead, one response will be generated or developed. So response developed. Okay, response developed. Okay, so by the action of such responses, some type of enzyme will be activated. So what is the name of that particular type of enzyme? So enzyme activated by the action of that particular type of response. So what are the name, or what is the name of that particular type of enzyme? So enzyme that is known as the enzyme that is very, very important for or to execute the second step. This enzyme plays an important or crucial role. Okay, so name actually adenyl cyclase, CYCLASE. So when any kind of enzyme come and bind to the receptor, extracellular receptor. Okay, so this is the extracellular receptor. Okay, so these red color structure, so this is a extracellular receptor. So when FSH come and bind with the extracellular receptor to form a hormone receptor complex, and by that time these hormone cannot enter or do not enter into the target cell. Instead they generate a response within the target cell, and by the help of that type of particular response, one important enzyme will be activated, and that is adenyl cyclase. And by the action of this adenyl cyclase and also Mg2 plus some ionic form, ATP will convert into cyclic AMP. Okay, or what is the full form of cyclic AMP? So cyclic AMP means cyclic adenosine monophosphate, PHOSPHATE. So cyclic adenosine monophosphate. So when this adenyl cyclase will be activated, then ATP in the presence of adenyl cyclase and Mg2 plus ion converted into cyclic AMP, and the full form of cyclic AMP, that is cyclic adenosine monophosphate, and with PPI. Okay, PPI. Okay, so this is the actual scenario that is happened during the second step of protein hormone action through extracellular receptors. Okay, so this is very, very crucial step. Now what are the example of secondary messengers? So cyclic AMP, this is the most important example of second messengers. And messenger, MESSENGER. So example of second messenger, so cyclic AMP, and besides cyclic AMP, IP3. So what is the full form of the IP3? So IP3 means inositol, sorry. Sorry, so that is inositol triphosphate. Okay, and also besides cyclic AMP and also IP3, inositol triphosphate, and one more example, that is Ca2 plus. Okay, so these are the example of second messengers, and these second messengers plays an important or crucial role to carry out or to execute the second step. Okay, and the last one oh, one more thing that is very, very important. So fast messenger, MESSENGER, so example of the fast messengers, that is known as hormone. So here example like FSH, so this is the fast messenger. And example of second messenger, MESSENGER, second messengers or the mediators. So example means cyclic AMP, okay, inositol triphosphate IP3, Ca2 plus, etc. Okay, so this information is very, very useful for this aspect. Okay, and now the third step that is also very important to execute or to carry out this type of process. So third step, that is regulation of cellular metabolism. So by the action of secondary messenger, or in the due to the presence of secondary messengers, so here response developed, fast response, and then secondary messenger will be developed. Second messengers, MESSENGER, second messengers developed, DEVELOPED developed, and then some kind of biological, by the presence or due to the presence of the second messenger, within the third step we have seen, or we will be seeing, that some biochemical process will be executed. Biochemical process. So biochemical processes will be executed due to the presence of secondary messengers, and this kind of scenario we have seen, or we will be seen within the third step. Okay, and after biochemical process developed, so it will influence, okay, some kind of physiological process. It will influence the physiological process. So physiological, PHYSIO, physiological process will be developed by the action of biochemical process. Okay, so within the third step, that is known as the regulation of cellular metabolism. So if we consider the third step, then we will see some kind of interesting events that will occur within the third step. So due to the presence of secondary messengers or the mediators like cyclic AMP and also inositol triphosphate and also Ca2 plus ion, so by the action of these secondary messengers, within the third step, biochemical process and physiological process will be developed. So what are the example, or what is the example of that type of physiological process? So example of physiological process, ovarian growth. Okay, so this is the example of physiological process. Okay, so actually the last 2 point that is very important, and that is placed under the third step, and that 2 process, that is biochemical process and physiological process. So these 2 process comes under the third step, that is regulation of cellular metabolism, and this third step carry out by the action of the product of the second step, and that is known as the second messengers. So if we consider from the first point, so that is so first of all, some hormone come and contact with the extracellular receptor, and with the extracellular receptor, this FSH hormone, say for example, comes and bind to the receptor and to form a hormone receptor complex, and that particular hormone do not enter into the target cell, but instead they develop within the target cell one kind of response. So one response will be developed, and as a result, due to the presence of such particular type of response, important enzyme will be activated. So that particular enzyme name, that is adenyl cyclase. So within the presence of adenyl cyclase and as well as Mg2 plus ion, ATP will convert it into cyclic AMP and as well as PPI. Okay, so this cyclic AMP, also full form of cyclic AMP, that is cyclic adenosine monophosphate. So this is the well known example of second messengers, and along with cyclic AMP, some other example of secondary messengers, that is IP3 or inositol triphosphate and as well as Ca2 plus ion. So these are the overall scenario of the second step, where we have seen how secondary messengers will be developed. So now within the third step, that is known as the regulation of cellular metabolism. So within the third step, due to the presence of or by the action of the secondary messengers, biochemical and some physiological process will be developed. As a result, we will see, or we have seen, that the ovarian growth has been occur. So these are the overall scenario of protein hormone action through extracellular receptors. So this information is enough, okay, is enough for your exam purpose, all kind of exam purpose like NEET, like boards. Okay, so that's it. Don't forget, like, comment, share, subscribe. Okay, stay safe, stay healthy. See you on the next video. Goodbye.